How are we all doing? For those who don't know me, Scott Halliday, served with the 1st Battalion, 22nd. Okay, joined 2001, and then was finally out in 2014. 2001, 16-year-old snotty-nosed kid, didn't have a clue what I was doing, which meant many of us didn't. Took a while to break me into the army life. Yeah, that's me. So I was support company from the day I got to battalion. Just missed out in Cyprus. Came through with Budgie, who obviously you've heard of already. Another lad, Mark Harvey, as well. They were the two lads that I came through training with. Got to battalion, Bulford. Okay, just turned 17. Straight into support company, like I said, anti-tank platoons, rather senior platoons in the battalion. Surrounded by a lot of lads with lots of experience. Okay, I had to grow up really quick, which I think eventually, military-wise, I did do. Spent most of my career with the anti-tank platoon, obviously first in Milan, then Javelin. I obviously spent tours and such with drums, and also B Company on Telek 11, which is working with a new group of lads. Yeah, good lads to work with. Finally got out in 2014, PAP 10, which I know a number of people have been who are on this group. Okay, for those who don't know what a PAP 10 is, okay, it's basically a medical discharge, okay, due to an injury that I had in 2008, which is a ridiculous injury, which we'll get onto shortly. From 2014, obviously came out the army. Didn't really get a chance to do any resettlement really. Basically got told in the October that I'd be out in the January, and that was from a phone call that I received off someone up in Glasgow. So not really much of a transition period, or really any time to get my head around the fact that I was out. Luckily managed to jump on a PT course, okay, because I was quite into my fitness back then. Wish it still was. So came out the forces, okay, worked at a gym straight away. Didn't really hit the ground running, suffered a little bit. Alright, this when I was living somewhere else in Cheshire. Alright, and then eventually I moved back after a few months back up onto the Wirral. Alright, where I started working for Wirral Council, working with young people. Okay, 16, oh my god, state of that. 15, 16, 17-year-olds, okay, in youth development. Alright, probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. It's good activities, outdoor activities, like outward bound stuff, residentials, which I was used to anyway from being with the art team for the last couple of years of my career. Obviously due to my injury, I wasn't allowed to deploy to Afghan or anything like that, despite the number of times I asked to go. Every time it was a stern no. From the youth engagement stuff, has snowballed with Wirral Council. Finally got myself in the leisure centres and the golf courses, and then became a lifeguard on the back of that. Now from that, I'm also now a trainer assessor, so I get to basically teach lifeguards how to be lifeguards. Okay, give them the qual. People just think lifeguards stand still, looking at a bit of water, but I can tell you now there's a lot more that goes into it. And then also through my passion of first aid and life saving, all that sort of stuff. I managed to get myself on a community first responder scheme, which is working for Northwest Ambulance Service. It's voluntary. Yeah, you just get paid your mileage. Well, basically, you sat at home with your, you've got like a trauma bag, your oxygen defib, masks, all your normal first aid stuff. Okay, you've got a work phone. The phone goes off. It gives you an address. It gives you the one word. What's up with them? Okay, then off you go. If you get there before the ambulance, then you commence treatment, and then if obviously you get there after the ambulance, okay, you help out the crews. Okay, I think it's designed to take the emphasis off the ambulance crews, which is needed obviously in this current climate. Now we can respond to anything from a fall and a bang in the head to a full-on cardiac arrest, which as a volunteer is a massive responsibility of you going into somebody's house without getting paid and giving them life-saving treatment. Okay, just on the end of the phone, 1 minute sat on the couch with the kids, and the next minute you're out the door, okay, going through someone's front door, and attaching a defib to someone's chest and trying to bring them back to life, which I think is a massive responsibility. So that's me really. Job wise, what I've done now, I realise that the reason for this video is, it's the mental health stigma which is around everything. Now through all my career, I've worked in high profile jobs in respect to mental health forces, mental health all the time, whether it's personal or professional. Okay, moving on to the Royal Life Saving Society, being a lifeguard, you would not believe the mental strength that you need to do that job. So the mental strength to do that job is massive. You can have hours and hours and hours of nothing, and the concentration which you've got to maintain to do that job, and then spot maybe a 5-year-old child drowning. It requires some skill. And then obviously through the ambulance service, which I've just spoke about, is, as you can see, it's the ambulance service. There's not one case is the same. Everything's got a different mental attack on you. I'm going to call it attack because it stays with you for a while. You think about things, you reflect on what you're doing, which is a big thing that I sort of focus on, is reflection. Reflection is underestimated. If I've been on a horrible job, or I've had to go in the water and save someone and pull them out, I'll always take myself away for 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll sit down and I'll think about the whole process from start to finish. What did I do? How did I do it? Could I have done any better? If not, why not? And then I develop myself through either talking to other crewmates or other lifeguards and using their experience. Obviously talking to people. Yeah, how did you get over this? Okay, how would you have done it? And reflect and come to a conclusion of why the outcome was the outcome. That's how, it's the main way I'd say I deal with a lot of mental health issues. Could it have been prevented? Well, no, it couldn't have been prevented. Okay, well, what could we have done better? Okay, if we didn't do this, then why didn't we do this? We did this because of this. Okay, it's methodical. It sends you through a process. Okay, and I think that's a very good way of processing any sort of traumatic event. Okay, I'm not talking about just me saving people from dying. I'm talking, I've had this through since I joined the forces. Okay, I didn't really come from anything. Okay, I was the weird kid on the block. I was a weird kid in the block as well. I was always the hypo one, the weird one. I I didn't really understand, what normality was when I was growing up. I didn't really have that sort of guidance growing up. I don't think I did anyway. My mum would probably be, questioning that, but hey, that's how it is. People know me will know all the shit that I went through earlier on in my career personally. Didn't really have any professional blunders, but personally, my personal life was a fucking car crash. Alright, so whether that was through my fault or through the person or people that I was dealing with, it doesn't really matter. It's happened, and obviously through my way of reflection, I've managed to deal with that in my head. Well, don't get me wrong, it's still in my head. I think about most of that stuff all the time, that went on nice and early in my career. We all know what I'm talking about, don't we? It was the talk of the town for fucking ages. And the other big thing was my accident in 2008. So just got back off Telek 11. All right. I went out with one of the, probably the only troop that I still talk to. Well, really, yeah. Parso, Steve Parsons, always been there for me. If I'm having a shit time, and the same for him. He's texted me over the last couple of months saying his head's up his arse, and we've spoken. That's what you do. We went out for a game of golf. I thought, this is boss. What a fantastic game this is. Went to the range the next day. Must have been back from Iraq. 3 weeks. Yeah, about 3 weeks. Went to the range, picked up his driver. He told me not to, but he hit it anyway. First ball, pink, straight in the left eyeball. Very nearly lost my eye. But unfortunately, that deemed me ineffective for service. Even though it took quite a few years to eventually boot me out. I wasn't allowed to be a troop anymore, basically. I was told very early by the commanding officer at the time that I probably wouldn't deploy again. So I pushed very hard to be posted to the art team down in Chester and Ellesmere Port. Work with good group of lads that down there. Now through that period, I'd say late 2008, 2010. It was early 2010. I was basically an absolute frigging nightmare through my mental health. Not many people know this, but probably, well, they probably do. I was heavily into the booze. Like, I was drinking 10 cans of Stella on a night. I was having to wake up at 4 in the morning and have a beer, just so I'd wake up in some frame of mind. Now that's at the time is how I dealt with that. So I had obviously the accident. I wasn't allowed to train. I wasn't allowed to be a troop. On some level, I felt a bit of victimisation from certain members of the battalion because of the fact you couldn't do anything, and that played heavily on me. But you don't really speak up about these things, do you? When you're going through it. But the way that we dealt with it was, through drink. Unfortunately, I burned probably every bridge that I had, every relationship that I had, friend-wise, in that 18-month, two-year period, just by being an absolute fucking helmet. And there's additional link into where I am now and how I've dealt with everything. The art team, when I was down at the art team, alright, it was a decent job. We were working with kids, we were in and out of schools. If anyone's ever stuck for something to do, I'd say go and work with kids. They'll give you a completely different aspect on life. It's such the energy that you want to put into a session with a group of young people that you wouldn't necessarily do on a normal day-to-day basis is massive. You want to be the educator. You want to be an influence on them, which I'd say really helped me from say 2010 up until 2013 when I finally got posted back to battalion before getting booted. So that was that bit. Now coming out, this is where everything really hit home. So we got a phone call in October, I think it was, just before my birthday. Then I was out on New Year's Day. Alright, so I went home from battalion. I went home about September. The RQ at the time, it was obviously acting RSMs that everyone was in. Everyone was out and about. Sent me home and said, listen, it's up here. Go and sort your stuff out. Thanks. I went, alright, yeah, cool. Within a month, I was working at a private gym. My personal life started to take another fall. And I had an unreal breakdown. I'd say around about April, May time. I had the biggest breakdown ever. I've never felt anything like it. Felt so low, so crap. And May 2014 was the last time I cried. Full on cried. I haven't cried since. Before, from that day, suck it up, sort your shit out, get on with it. And the way that I dealt with it was through what I was saying before. It was through that reflection process. I sat myself down and I just discussed the last 12 years of my life with myself. What have you been doing? What have you done with your life? How the hell have you got yourself into this position? Alright, and I answered questions which could date back another 20 years. Things that have reasons why I was where I was, dates back all the way through to childhood. And it really does. You might not think it, but when you truly break everything down that you've been through, right, it all goes back to your childhood and the way, how you process emotion, the mental capacity to take on information and process it, no matter what type it is. It does boil down to the start of it, the root cause of it, I should say, is down there. So yeah, that breakdown was a turning point for me. Ever since then, I've built walls. I think my partner now, who I've had lovely baby with, I've got my firstborn now. He's nearly 10. I'm looking for a relationship which burns through me drinking and going out and just being an absolute helmet. I think she'd say I've still got walls up. I let out what I need to let out when I need to let it out, if you know what I mean. So yeah, now here I am, focusing on 2 or 3 different projects or jobs. Believe it or not, I actually play golf better. I can't get any worse than what I did when I first started, with the Bockeye. Yeah, that's me. That's my little story. I've I've always wanted to go back over time and apologise to the people that I basically screwed over through me not being able to deal with my mental health. Look, I'm gonna find the balls to do it, I'll do it. You know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, gents, ladies, gents, veterans, you know, people still serving. Those in the ambulance service, you know, big thing pushing out today on the thing of, you know, the territorial army working within the ambulance service. You know, if you need help, just talk. This is the perfect place to do it. Now, I've spoke about things just on this short 15-minute video, which I've never said to anyone. People have asked me, I've just shut them down. I don't know what it is, but Carl's, Mark's, Darren's, Lee's influence over the last month or so. You know, I've been thinking about all this stuff a lot, and it's actually quite good to get off my chest and talk about how my head was and all that sort of stuff. So I thank you very much. Thanks, brothers and sisters. See you soon.